It's Elle Ingalls at pressure-free.com. We're going to take out some trash this morning because there was certainly a lot of trash on the streets this morning. I have some interesting ones. I want to point out this one first. Lotto tickets of some sort. But the word word, that just really caught my eye as I was walking this morning, word. The words that we use, I was a marketing director for a couple of years, an executive director of a nonprofit, and how you market, how you get people, encouraged to purchase your product, to be a part of your product. Good morning, Bruce. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you for the hearts. But I want you to look really closely at this baby here. Let me put it right up in front here. Do you see how one of the dollar signs actually has a sparkle on it? It has a sparkle on it. So it's like it's magic. You're going to buy this lottery ticket and magically you're going to have money. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. I've got some other interesting trash, more cigarettes. I never noticed before. This is the first time I've really looked at this package. I was waiting to go on and I took a good look. Hi, Rachel. Thank you for joining. It says right on the side, please don't litter. I think it's nice that they said please, because I find cigarette packs on my street almost every other day. So they're asking you not to litter. But also here, marketing, Marlboro slates. I thought slate was kind of an interesting word to use for a cigarette. It reminded me of when I was in college. A lot of people smoked in Michigan when I was there. They smoked, they did cocaine, they did a lot of drugs, and I didn't do any of it. I remember though that just to kind of fit in, I would hold a cigarette. So I didn't smoke it, I'm like holding it. And guys started giving me really beautiful ones, like colored ones, kind of James Bondy look, gold and black and everything. So I kind of wondered if these were slate colored. I don't know, but I thought that was interesting marketing. And then this last one, this one I actually found on the street this morning that I wouldn't expect to see much trash. Kiss, salon French nails, pink. And then it says down here, most natural moon. So like, to get the moon shape of your fingernails, I guess. Looks and feels like your own nails. So I thought that was kind of interesting marketing. And then inside, little clock here, little stopwatch, and it says maximum speed nail glue. Interesting marketing. The words that we use. If you haven't, if you didn't see my earlier post this week and into the weekend, and you have any negative thoughts in your head, if words make an impact, the name calling, that's what I did yesterday. You might want to go back through those videos. I know I got a couple messages that they were really helpful to some people. So if you talk smack to yourself, if you're not your own best friend, that whole series I did on being your own best friend might be helpful. We're going to start a new series today. I want to thank everybody who's joining live. Some people have come on, which is fabulous. And if you are coming on the replay, I really thank you too. So like, heart, share. Facebook loves all of that. We can reach more people that way. And you can also share it privately. So don't think that when you hit that share button, it just automatically goes out. You have some choices. So I want to thank everybody who shares out my videos and everybody who connects other people to me. That's been happening recently. Some of my former clients are connecting me to new clients, and it's just so enriching when that happens. And some of the transformations that are happening with people these days, I mean, it's just really, really cool. So hopefully, I just asked one of my clients if I can share, and tomorrow hopefully I'll share a story that happened to her. This is just, I think it's just phenomenal. So stay tuned for that tomorrow, hopefully. So we're going to work on time in the next few days. Time is a real pressure for a lot of people. We either seem to have too much time on our hands or not enough. And I have helped so many people. And it's really deep into my course that we start working on time, because first you've got to remove the stress hormones. Excuse me, I got a hair. I just finished my little walk, so my hair's a mess. So time. We either have too much or not enough. Time feels like a pressure. And I coach really deeply on this. I want to share a little of that with you today. One of the things that I coach about is that time has two things inform whether time feels like a pressure or not to us. Good morning, Dave. Thank you for joining. Whether or not time feels like a pressure to us. Two things. First, our state of mind. What I have noticed in the past 7 years of becoming more and more pressure-free, using my tools, is that I never feel busy anymore. I should say I very rarely feel busy anymore. That used to be a word I used to describe myself all the time. It was almost like a badge. We were this badge of busyness. Look how busy I am. I'm accomplishing so much. I'm a superhuman. And since I started using the pressure-free method and becoming more pressure-free, busy is not a word I use to describe myself. I don't feel that adrenaline rush anymore. I don't need it. I don't need it to accomplish anything. Some people feel they need that adrenaline rush just to be able to get through their day, but then they crash at night and they don't have a good relationship with their spouse and their children because they're so tired. They're so overwhelmed and they're so tired, and they're literally fatigued, not from physical activity, but from the release of the stress hormones and mental activity. That's 90% of our fatigue is emotional. So that's fascinating. If you're tired, if you don't feel like you have enough time, pressure-free can be so helpful to you. So state of mind, number one. And the second thing is what we are doing, our activity. So I bet you can think of a time when you are completely oblivious to time. Maybe you're doing something on the internet or playing a game or playing tennis. You have no idea how many hours have gone by. It's just like you're so in the flow. And that's interesting. I'm a violin teacher at KCC at the college here in Battle Creek, Kellogg Community College. And a lot of things are named Kellogg or Post in Battle Creek. I once played a piece for one of my students. It wasn't your son, Dave, but it was actually someone he knows. And I asked him at the end, I said, how much time do you think just went by? I was playing a very intense piece by Bach. It used a lot of, like, more than one string. We call that double, triple, quadruple stops. Rachel, one of my students on here, knows that. So more than one string. So it was a very intense, beautiful piece by J.S. Bach. And my student said, oh gosh, it's been like 15 minutes or so. And the piece is only 7 minutes, 30 seconds. So he'd actually, in his mind, doubled how long it took because it was so intense. So time is interesting. It changes based on our state of mind, and it changes based on the activity that we're doing. So in the pressure-free method, I give you all sorts of tools to help you so that your state of mind is good. So your state of mind isn't in that adrenaline-filled busyness. One student, actually she's probably gotten her degree now. She was a Michigan State student about to go to Wayne State and become a physician's assistant. And it was summer that she took my course. And she actually doubled up sessions. So she took my intro course, doubled up sessions, and she said, and you'll see this on my website, she actually reported back to me, did a testimonial for me, and said that she gained 10 hours in her week by taking my course. Now, one of the things that I help people with is set up routines that work for you. We all have a routine. We may not call it a routine, but the way that we do our day is filled with little habits, little routines. Some of those routines may serve you, and some of them may not. We also have a lot of rules of how to drive, rules of how to do the dishes. And when other people don't follow our rules, we'll trigger stress hormones. We'll get very annoyed, maybe even angry. That's what road rage is, right? And road rage is interesting. My clients who don't even drive yet have road rage. They're imitating their parents or the people that they sit in the car with. They're imitating them. So all of these little habits of reactions. Hi, Caroline. Thanks so much for joining. We have these habits of reactions. We have these rules in our routines. Some of them serve us and some of us don't. So when you can take some time to debunk your routine, I'm going to share a couple of examples. You can actually gain time in your day. You can also remove some of the things that really aren't serving you on your true mission. So I was working with, gosh, this boy was probably about 15 or 16, high school student. Good morning, Paul. Thank you for joining. High school student, and he had trouble getting to school on time in the morning, or feeling like he was on time. He felt very rushed in the morning. How many of you feel that? Like you don't have enough time to get out of the house in the morning, that everything is a rush, everything is a frenzy. So this boy was experiencing that, and for several reasons. But one of the things that I debunked with him was, okay, so what is your routine? I had him share with me, and you can do this for yourself. You can write it out if you want. You know, what is your routine in the morning? If you're in and he lived in a 2-story house, actually 3-story house, a big house. But his bedroom was on the 2nd floor. Everything else is downstairs. Hi, Lene, how are you? And so on this, I asked him to analyze how many times he went up and down the stairs in the morning to get ready. And when he analyzed it, let's see, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 times that he went up and down to prepare himself in the morning. So we analyzed why. Why was he spending so much time running up and down the stairs to get ready in the morning? Well, he'd get up, run down, have breakfast, run up, brush his teeth, run down, get his sports stuff all together, run back up, get dressed, blah, blah, blah. You know, so he was doing this running up and down. So I asked him, I had him develop the routine to start to think about, okay, how many times does he really need to go up and down the stairs? You can do this for yourself. Like, how many times do you go back and forth between a room to get yourself ready to go out in the morning? So analyzing these little things are really interesting. Your morning routine, your evening routine. I have really pretty decent teeth, but really crappy lower gums because I create a saliva, this is hereditary, a saliva that is just really broken down all of this. So just a little calling myself out on that, even though I floss for everything I eat. So I don't just floss at night, I floss and brush my teeth after everything. And I've probably overbrushed, which has compounded the problem because I'm trying to get them clean. Anyway, I went to a specialist who's actually a friend of mine. He's a musician friend of mine. And it was fabulous to actually be in his chair. What a wonderful caregiver. I'm going to shout out. It's Dr. Craig Diederich in Battle Creek if you need any help with your gums. I mean, he's just amazing. So Craig is a dear friend. And so anyway, he and his assistant really taught me a totally different approach to my teeth and my gums. It takes a long time. So I have to take a lot of time to clean my teeth after everything I eat. I can't be in a rush. And that is like this new routine I'm having to put in. So of course I'm like teaching it to my son. Like, you should brush your teeth like this so you don't have this problem when you're my age at 55. So what are some routines that you could just tweak a little bit? Maybe you need to take a little more time on it. Maybe you're taking too much time on something and you can reduce that time a little bit. And you can find what I call the sweet spot. The sweet spot of your routine that truly gets you the big bang for the buck. You know, if I don't do this routine for my teeth, then I'm looking at gum surgery a few years from now. I don't really want that. But if I can really be mindful about how I do all this work now, be in the moment, actually in the moment brushing my teeth. I leave the bathroom. I actually go into my bedroom and sit and look out at the blue sky. I need to show the blue sky. Look at the sky in Michigan this morning. Oh my goodness. A beautiful, quintessential, beautiful, pure Michigan day. So yeah, so I'm more mindful. So take a look at your morning. If you can just look at your morning routine and then your evening routine. These two things. If you go back through my videos about 3 weeks ago, I did a whole series on digestion and being more mindful about how you eat, thinking of food as fuel and how you're eating it and bringing in oxygen to actually burn the fuel efficiently. So that's another like little routine you can build around how you eat. So just shifting, I don't encourage people to try to take a big chunk, like just shifting just a little bit can start to change the trajectory of your life. If you are super busy in the morning, feel like you're going to be late, you need to make a change because I'm going to guess that you're probably triggering stress hormones several times in that preparation time to get out the door in the morning. And every time you do it, you're now compounding all of your issues and all of your problems. You're not going to be your best self. You will not perform at your highest level. You will not be in your true best potential. And you're not going to be your own best friend, which is what we've worked on the past few days. You're going to talk negatively to yourself. You're going to spit that out to other people. You're going to mess with your relationships. You're not going to be not only your own best friend, but not a good friend to others, just because of those releases first thing in the morning. And I can attest to this. I'm going to call myself out. I share a lot of little stories about how I used to be like, boom, 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 come on everybody, we gotta go, 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 hurry up, we're gonna be late. You know, all that kind of thing, because I value being on time. That's a value for me. So I had to shift that. And in my shifting, I had to kind of let go. That's why I think in this post I said, you know, also, what are things you need to let go? Are some of your rules constricting you? This is going to happen. I can feel it's going to happen. Last night, okay, school is about to start. My youngest son is going to start his senior year. And so, you know, most people right now are in that whole preparation to go to school. What does William want to do? Last night he says to me, you know what? We've only done two school visits, Michigan and Columbia, and in New York. And because there's a Columbia College art school in Chicago that's really good, but this is the one in New York. And he says, you know, if I'm thinking of going to an Ivy League, I really should look at a couple others. Could we go to Yale and Harvard this weekend? Like, instead of preparing to get ready for school, he and I are probably going to hit the road Friday and do a whirlwind little tour of 2 colleges. And we can only do that because the routines that we have in our day are already very relaxed, very pressure-free, and very, how should I say, intentional, so that we can actually even think about just getting in the car, going across country, and coming back before Tuesday when school starts without any mess. Does that make sense? Like, you can be spontaneous when the routines that you have are serving you, versus being full of rules or controlling or tight and full of the busyness that really mess with your body and your mind. So I was just talking with, I'm going to say she's my new best friend. She's an amazing woman. We speak every morning, and we were talking about road rage. She doesn't want to drive with a certain person because when she comes to a stop, her friend will actually find something to complain about they shouldn't have taken that turn that way. Like, her rules of driving, she'll point out everybody who isn't driving her rules. And it's so negative that it affects the energy of my friend. Like, she doesn't want to be in the car with her. I used to be a totally non-pressure free driver. Totally non-pressure free. I was, I was rear-ended twice. Once by a guy who had a wasp down in his car here in Battle Creek. He blew through a light and was going 35 miles an hour, and there were no brake marks. When he hit us, we were at a dead stop at a light. And William was a little boy, 3-4 years old, and Nettie was in elementary school, and Nettie was in the way back seat, and they smashed our van up front to back. Like, we were protected in the seats, but that was it. Everything else, the back end of the van was smashed right up to Nettie. I mean, it was incredible. So I guess when I was rear-ended, that kind of put me on edge. Have you ever had something happen to you where then moving forward, like, you're a little bit on edge about that? A little bit out of edge to walk down a certain street because something happened. You know, so watching for how we tighten. I'm always talking to you about that, but doing the body scan. Your body is going to inform you so much. If you start to tighten, if you tighten when you're driving, see if you can relax your abs, the whole rest of your body will start to relax. You won't white knuckle. I became such a pressure-free driver that my oldest son, he was like, we're driving one day, he goes, I think you're too pressure-free, Mom. But that's a heck of a lot better than having any sort of fear or anger, you know, anxiety or anger while you're driving, because you are not a good driver when you've triggered stress hormones. Accidents happen because people have triggered stress hormones, because you're tight and you'll jerk the wheel. You won't be calm, pressure-free, and able to assess what's going on. You're in survival mode, which changes everything, your senses and everything. So I've kind of gone on long this morning, but I hope this has been helpful. I've got to get ready. I've got a client coming. You know, really take a look at your routines. This entire next few days, I'm going to talk about time, routines, give you tips so that you can really start to be in the flow instead of wearing the busy badge. Look how busy I am. You're only hurting you and everybody else when you move into adrenaline-filled busyness. There's a really funny video circulating. I love it because it's got a fun message, but the woman is so, also is kind of pointing out how crazy we all are. She's pushing a shopping cart and she's getting school supplies for teachers, honoring teachers. And I have Janet on here, who's a retired teacher, and I honor you. what teachers have to do every day is amazing. So honor your teachers. But the video is funny because you'll see how adrenaline filled the woman is and how she calls out adrenaline filledness. So I coach a lot of educators. Educators are in really high stress positions these days, and their stress hormones, their stress levels are at an all-time high. Yeah, thank you, Jenna. You love that video. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. And I love humor. But healthcare workers and educators, we need to give them lots of love. And also anyone in a uniform these days is under a great deal of stress. So, and we're talking heart attack stress, we're talking debilitating stress. Any release of the hormones is going to debilitate you. But when it's repeated all day long, it's really dangerous. And so yes, finishing up, wishing you a fabulous pressure-free day. Thank you so much for being on here. Likes and hearts are wonderful. You can give me some love. Sitting all alone here in my yard. And knowing that you're here is a wonderful thing. I can't see everybody's names up here, so it's really great when I can see some hearts stream across. It gives me something back, so it's a two-way conversation, since I'm really just doing the one-way here. Take a look at your routines. That's my message for you today. Wishing you a fabulous pressure-free day. See you tomorrow.